Okay, I'll start
First time, sir.
first time. Okay, I'll start from basic only. Well, just an idea about load flow analysis. So, what is load flow and how? What are the things we can get from the load flow? So, load flow study in power system is the steady state solution for of all the power system networks. So, the first point what you want to understand is this LF. LF means load flow studies in power system is the steady state solution of the power system network. So, this is very important analysis that every electrical engineer or power system engineer should know. This is the very basic analysis we need to do or we need to carry out for any power system, and this is also a prerequisite for doing any other power system analysis like fault study or stability study or economic operation, like that studies if you want to do on the power system. Then this is very from this only we can get all other idea or all other analysis. So that is why they are telling this is very important analysis in the power system. Every electrical engineer must know about this load flow analysis. Okay, so what we can get from this load flow analysis? What are the we can obtain? The information from this load flow study is like voltage magnitude, and maybe voltage angle also, and reactive power, maybe real power, and real power on lines and reactive power on line flow during line flow of real and reactive power, and losses also. So these are all the some of the thing we will get or information we will get while performing the load flow analysis. While performing this load flow analysis, we can get this type of things. This is the first observation you are doing, and also some noise is coming. I don't. Are you? Is there any noise?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. And also from this load flow study, we can continuously monitor the current state of the system. We can continuously monitor the current state of the system. Why we need this current state? How the system is performing, we need to continuously monitor this. Why it is needed? Because then only we can able to find out some losses, some type of, already I said that we can able to find out the current somewhere is leakage or fault, or stability is mismatching, or some economic operations also for making the system as efficient as possible, or as less cost as possible, right? So we need to continuously monitor the system. If you want to continuously monitor the system, the only way we can do the analysis by load flow. So while performing this load flow analysis, we can able to continuously monitor the system. Because say for example, we have in India, we have a national load dispatch center. Okay, from that national load dispatch center, we are having around 5 regional load dispatch, like southern, north, eastern, west, or northeastern. So these are all the regional electricity boards. So sometimes the national dispatch load will give the information about the current state of the system to the regional load dispatch center. Otherwise, in reverse also, sometimes national load need information from the regional load centers, so vice versa. So if you want to give the information of the current state of the system, so all this national level and regional level electricity board will perform this load flow analysis at constant monitoring the system, and they will share their information between them. Why? Because one of the main important tasks of the electric power system is to meet the necessary of the load demand. So why we are going for this is to meet the increased load demand. Increased load demand. Why it is increasing? Say for example, while starting in India during the British period or during the first installation capacity in India is just 13,060 megawatts. It is 13,060 megawatts per hour. So this is the first generation capacity in India, but now it is 1547 terawatt per hour. It is terawatt per hour. So it is increased. So if it like that, it is exponentially increasing the demand in electric power system in India especially. Then the power system, regional or national electricity board also need to meet their increasing demand. So if they want to meet the increasing demand of the electricity, they need to continuously monitor the system. How much demand is needed for today or tomorrow or later, per year or per next year or next month. So they need to calculate it. So if they want to need the calculation, the demand required for the electric power electric network, they need to perform this load flow analysis. While performing like this, they can able to get to know that the load is increasing or decreasing. So accordingly, they can able to increase the generation capacity, or they will do some extra additional work for renewable energy also. So for that type of applications, this load flow analysis is used. So this is one of it. And one point I want to mention here is, for doing the load flow analysis or load flow studies, we need this Y-bus matrix. For what? This load flow study. And if you want to find out some faults occurring in the system, some fault happened in the system, or we want to diagnose, or you want to find out the fault, then we will go for Z-bus for fault studies. So these are all this is the very important study we carrying out on the power system. One is the load flow and one is fault analysis. So in this module 2, we are going to focus on load flow analysis, because we are going for that Y-bus. So that is the reason in first module we have learned both the matrices. With help of these two matrices, we can able to find out, or we can able to analyze the different parameters of the power system network, and one of that is Y-bus for load flow analysis. Okay, so this is the path we are following the syllabus. So that's why we have learned already how to form the Y-bus, how to form the Z-bus, all these things we have covered. So what are all the important operations we need required to load flow studies? So the important there are 4 important operations we need to take care while doing this load flow studies. You may get this question in 5 marks. Okay. Important operations required for load flow studies. The first one is optimal ordering of bus. So what is this optimal ordering of the bus? Any guess what they are meaning? There are 4 points, totally 4 important points. Optimal ordering of the buses. For example, say for example in Karnataka you may have n number of buses. Okay, or if you in national level you may have a bus in Chennai, you have a bus in Bangalore, you may have in Mysore, you may have in somewhere in Karnataka. Okay, so all these buses still we can able to draw as a Y bus, but which is 1, which is 2, which is 3, that order is there, no? So the ordering, this is number 1, Chennai is number 1, or Bangalore is number 1, Mysore is number 2. So the ordering of the bus is very very important, because say for example if you start with Mysore and then if you go to Chennai and then if you come for Bangalore, maybe the losses will be more because of the distance. The analysis will not be as optimized as possible. So this ordering of the bus is important while doing any load flow studies. So that is the first point. Second point is compact storage scheme. So in starting in 1960s or in 1970s, there is a problem of making the storage system in the power system network. During that time they have given lot of schemes how to make the storage system. So because of that this term came, compact storage scheme. But nowadays in modern system it is not a matter, because as much as possible we can store the electricity in distributed way or in a generalized way also. In modern power system we are not using this, but anyway to just know about this point is included for load flow analysis. This is just for a old method, so we are not currently using this in anywhere. Okay, just to understand this thing. And third thing is sparsity. The sparsity, why, what is the importance of sparsity? We know that this Y bus matrix is a sparsity matrix. What is meant by sparsity? Anyone recall? Just have explained what is sparsity in previous class. Can you explain what is the sparsity? Why this Y bus is more sparsity, but Z bus is not that much? Any idea? You see, if you draw the Y bus matrix, only the diagonal elements will have some values. All these non-diagonal values are zeros. All these non-diagonal values are zero. How much big the zero present in this matrix, that much the matrix is sparsity. Sparsity is, if number of zeros are more in any matrix, then we can call the sparsity is higher. If the number of zero element in this matrix is less, then we can call the sparsity is less. So if you have the sparsity, more sparsity, then the calculation will be more easy, right? The complexity of the problem solving will be very less if more sparsity is there. So such a way that we need to build the Y bus which has more sparsity. Means why the sparsity is less? Because suppose if some mutual values are there, more mutual values are there, then it will make more sparsity in this. Am I right? Am I right or wrong? Say for example from Bangalore to Chennai, if one bus is there and again 2 or 3 more buses is coming from some other places, then this Bangalore also will get a mutual and this Chennai also will get mutual. The Chennai bus and Bangalore bus will have more mutual admittance. So at that time we will get more values, non-zero elements in non-diagonal element of the matrix. At the time the sparsity will be very less. So we need to calculate the Y bus, or we need to frame the Y bus such a way that the sparsity is very high to avoid the complexity, to reduce the complexity of the system for calculating purpose. That is the third one. And fourth one is nothing but forming this Y bus, formation of the Y bus using singular transformation method. Y bus using singular transformation method. So these are the important operations we will carry out for the load flow studies. Mostly these three things will not be affected for a less number of for example up to 113 bus. It is not a big deal, we don't want to bother about this. If it is going around 1000 bus system, or 1000 bus system which having more generators and more load dispatches, then the system will be more complex. At that time we need to think about these things. What we need to optimize the ordering of the bus such a way that the complexity is reduced. We need to think about the compact storage scheme. We need to think about the sparsity, means to avoid or to minimize such a way that the matrix is coming as non-zero, zero element in that, and then we will convert into a Y bus system. But for our academic purpose, we will not worry about this 3 point. Only we are going to see about this Y bus system. That is the reason in first module we have learned this Y bus module. Up to this, any doubt? So now you have got some brief introduction about the load flow study. We know why this load flow analysis is doing, what is the importance of that, and what are the things we need to take care while doing the load flow analysis or load flow study. And finally, nothing but this Y bus will play an important role for this load flow study. Up to this, any doubt? Up to this, any doubt? If you have any doubt, you just tell me. Okay. Next, slowly we will enter into the load flow statements or problem statement, right? So how this problem statement can be given? So we know that from this load flow we are all going to find out this magnitudes or this informations from any given network. So these are all the important things we need to take from this analysis. If that is the case, then what is the problem statement? Without any problem statement, we will not get these values, right? So how to form the problem statement? Okay, that is the next one, right? So I will name this as load flow problem. So what is the load flow? We all know that the complex power SI, this is very basic, SI is equal to PI plus JQI. This we all know, this is very familiar, we are very familiar with this. And the same thing can be represented by VI also. I already mentioned why I put always I as the complex in first class itself. It's nothing but to just mathematically for all power system they will use. There is no any technical meaning why I always take the current as the complex, not the Y or not the V, just for the mathematical simplification. Okay, so here what is II? II is nothing but the source current injected in the bus, right? The source current injected in the bus. So what is injected current we already discussed, so I will not take again here. So nothing but source current injected for any particular buses. So say for example, if you are taking this bus, how many are getting inside and how many are getting outside, just multiply or add and you will get this I. So nothing but for this particular bus, what is the current, that's all, and I am taking this as a complex. Here for the load flow problem, if I want to take out this complexity in voltage, I don't want I, but I want to take in VI, then what I will do is, I will take PI minus JQI is equal to, I will make this voltage as complex and I1 as a normal value. Why? Because I need just nothing but I need this I value as it is. I don't want any complex, don't want to make any complex on this current, so I want as it is whatever the value available in this bus. I need only the real value, not a complex value. Then I can able to make this complex as minus, and I can bring this complexity of this current to voltage. That is a simple mathematical here, nothing technical, more technical here, right? So I can still, both are same. And here high is nothing but number of buses starting from 1, 2 up to n number of buses. How many number of buses in any system? Just if you give this value, if both will be same, both will be same in this, right? And in general, I can tell this current is nothing but by what II is nothing but the summation of starting from 1 to n of y, ik and vk. Yk is nothing but admittance. We all know that we can able to write in admittance form also. We know that in the first class we have seen the current can be taken in admittance form also. So if I want, if n number of buses available for this equation, then I can just put a what summation for this, and I still get the total current on that network. So this is I, right? If I apply this I in equation, say for example this is equation 1 and this is equation 2 and this is 3. If I apply equation 3 in 1, then I will get Pi minus JQi is equal to, I made voltage as complex just for simplicity, nothing more, and the summation K is equal to 1 to n of the admittance of that particular bus and then the voltage of that particular bus. Okay, so these two are same. Then if I want to separate the real part and imaginary part, how I can able to do? So I want to take the real part and imaginary part from equation 4. So I can write like this: Pi is equal to the real part of the network, or this expression Pi star, the summation of K is equal to 1 to n Yik Vk. So this is nothing but my real part of equation 4. And if I take the imaginary, then Qi is equal to imaginary minus imaginary and Pi complex K is equal to 1 and n and Yik Vk. So this is nothing but just I splitted the real part and reactive, real part and imaginary part. Okay. So this equation I just splitted out. Why we are doing these things? I need a problem statement to solve the load flow problem. That problem statement should give the result, should give my all the information required for voltage magnitude. I want angle, I want reactive power and real power, and then line line real power and line reactive power and losses. These are all the information I want to get. To get this type of information by performing the load analysis, I need some statement which I want to compute, right? So I am trying just to get a statement for real and reactive to solve the load flow problem. So just I taken from normal power equation. From that normal power equation, I just splitted the real and reactive powers outside. Up to this, up to equation, say for example, if this is 5 and this is 6, and 5 and 6 are real and reactive. That's all. For any equation, I can able to express that equation, phasor equation. Say for example, these are all the phasor equation. If I want the same phasor equation, still I can able to make in polar form or rectangular form also. That is very basic. We have solved maybe you maybe solved around hundreds of problems on that. So this Vi I can able to write Pi Ai delta I. So it is nothing but the voltage with angle. I splitted this voltage and I included the imaginary part of this voltage also. So for example, if it is exponential form and the same voltage equation, I can able to write in rectangular form also. Nothing but cos del I plus j sin del I. So this is in what rectangular form, right? And same thing I can able to draw in polar form also, or express in polar form also. All these three are same only, just for representing I can make this like this. So in polar form, just I will have a angle only. So just I will put an angle. So all these three are nothing but voltage expression. Same like this, the impedance also I can write in what exponential form. So if I want to write this impedance in exponential form, just I will split the angle here, j theta ik. So if that is the case, and just I want to express the real and reactive part here, this real and reactive, if I want to express in what exponential or exponential form, then the same thing will be the resultant. So this whatever writing I am now, this should be memorized by you if you're not very confident here, because it's nothing, just nothing but I am taking the real and reactive power outside and I am making that real and reactive equation in the exponential form. So how it will be? Very very important. Write down this. You should not forget this. PLP is equal to the voltage, magnitude of the voltage. Just I am applying this equation 3 and 4 in exponential form. K is equal to 1 of n and Vk and Yik. This is also the modulo and cos of theta ik plus del k minus del I, and all this I are 1, 2 up to n bus. So how many buses are there? If you solve this thing, I will get Pi. To solve this, just this is nothing but voltage and this is nothing but again the voltage K. This is for I, means if this is I and this is K and voltage of I is this and voltage of K is here, and admittance between this thing, this is nothing but these are all we know, right? This is nothing but Yik and this is nothing but Vi, this is Vk, and the angle between the angle of the voltage just put here and you will get the value. While solving the problem, you can able to understand this. For now, you just write down these equations. Very very important. You should not forget. You should have in your fingerprint, or otherwise they will call every electrical engineers or power system engineer must have this equation in their heart by heart at every time. And then Qi reactive. I am writing about the reactive power P is nothing but minus Vi summation of k is equal to 1 to n, and this is also Vk. Vk means nothing but this one, and then Yik sin theta ik plus del k minus del I. I is equal to 1 comma 2 comma 3. Very very important. For second module, we are going to deal only with this thing. Maybe in some textbook the syntax will be different, that is okay, but concept is this is what the concept. Okay, so in literature, if you see, or in world literature books, they will call this equation as SLFE. Note down this SLFE. What is that? Static load flow equation. This is static load flow equation. These two are. How many equations are there? 2n. This is 2n equation, means it has 2n power flow equations. Why we need this 2 and 4n? Because it will reflect the complexity of the system, right? So here we have two equations. We are going to solve, definitely we are going to solve these two equations. So the power flow equations are 2, and how many number of variables are there? There are 4n variables. So for example, if you are having 1000 bus system, then you multiply 2, then that much of equation you will get. And if you are having 1000 and how many variables will we say? This is nothing but variable. Variables are what? Real power, reactive power, and then voltage, and then angle. So these are all the angle between these things. So these are all nothing but my variables, 4 variables. So if you are having 1000 bus system and you will get 4000 variables, see how much big the complexity is. So this is the problem statement we are going to deal for what? What is today's topic? Power flow study, power flow analysis. If you solve these two equation and with this complexity, this is nothing but the complexity of the system, then I will get some values. That values give you n 4n of variable data. You will get all these data. So for particularly I need a 563 bus of real power. I need P 563 if it is 1000 bus system. Exactly I will get if you solve this. I understand. Do you understand what I am trying to tell? Say for 1000 bus system, if you want a particular element of pi or qi or vi or del, any all these four values I can able to get if you are solving this. Just an overview of load flow basics. While solving the problem, you will still understand in detail. I thought you got some idea about why we are doing this and what we are going to find out from this and how big the complexity is. All these things we have covered today. If you have any doubt, so this is the basic introduction for the module 2. I hope I have covered all the required information for this module 2. Is that clear now? Any doubt? Only important thing, at least you need to understand this is the equation you are going to solve for the load flow analysis. After solving this, I will get information of these four variable for any bus, for any particular bus, because I is nothing but what bus you need information, just apply that. For that particular bus you will get the value. That much you need to understand now. It is okay? Still, if you have any doubt, tomorrow or next class we are going to solve the problems. During solving the problems you will be clearly understand this concept. Okay, that's all about today class. In next class we will see in more detail. Right, I will give the attendance for you, just a minute.